This is a Frank podcast.
This Warriors Life Podcast 2026, episode 23. Will Evans, Brad Larking, and a very special guest here, Sam Ackerman. I'm sure it'll be very familiar to especially our New Zealand audience. Brought to you by Kingz Container Crew, of course, great supporters of the Warriors and fantastic supporters of our podcast. Greatest container crew outfit on the planet. Head to kingzcontainercrew.com for your container packing and unpacking solutions, and hit the Work With Us tab to get a job with those guys. Also, PlaceMakers, New Zealand's leaders in trade, the greatest trade range in the country since 1981. And we're very excited to have them on board. PlaceMakers Warriors Legends lunch coming up in Christchurch soon. Brad and I will be there. Super excited for that too. And Sam Ackerman. It's a dream guest to have on, really. Legend in local or New Zealand sports broadcasting and media. Great league, man. Of course, the League Fix has been a fixture in rugby league social media for some time. You've been, coming up 20 plus years, Sam. Long time sports reporter on TV3, Newshead, Hub of Sport, myriad media roles across all the formats, and more recently seen lots of you on Sport Nation, our great friends, which has been fantastic to see. Welcome to the podcast, mate. How's things down in the Bay?
Mate, things are wonderful. If I'm a dream guest, you fellas really need to get better dreams, honestly. If that's as high as you aim, I think you can do better. But, mate, 25 years in media for me, and it's been, that's all I ever wanted as a kid was to, once I worked out at a very early age that I wouldn't be on the field, this was literally the next best thing for me, living out my dreams. I've been to World Cups, grand finals, covered the lot, been there for the highest moments and the lowest moments. So it is us leagueies, we're a special breed, and I'm lucky enough to have been able to find my people through rugby league. And I'm a massive fan of the show and the work you guys do. The Substack's unreal. The attention to detail is absolutely phenomenal. The rivalry book has been one that I thumb through on a very regular basis. I think I must be almost cover to cover by now, Will, which is some effort with
outstanding.
So, mate, big fans of what you guys do, and an absolute pleasure to be here.
Awesome, mate. And can we get a bit of a background on, I guess, your league fandom, how you came into it as a young bloke, and I guess a couple of highlights along the way, intertwining it with your work as you came into the media space?
Yeah, well, league was my gateway drug to sport, basically. I remember the 1991 grand final just happened to be on at home. Watched the Panthers get up on the Raiders and the emotions pouring out of Royce Simmons jumping into the arms of Mark Geyer and saying, "I want to have a beers with all yous afterwards." From there, I was hooked. That off season, I became just obsessed, and it was kind of the first thing that I come across in my life where everything I read kind of I retained. I learned the players' names, and I was just a nuffy by the time 92 rolled around, and been hooked since then. I grew up a Manly fan, same reason as anyone is a Manly fan. At that time, the Matthew Ridges, the Edos, the Darryl Williams, the Graham Lowe, Kiwi connection in there, and obviously transitioned into a Warriors fan as well. So lucky enough to get a crack right out of uni into the media space in the sports department for what became the radio arm for TV3 and News Hub, many years there into TV, and lucky enough to do a lot there for 3 News, be the league reporter, get to cover a lot of great moments, as I said, there on the ground for the 2008 Rugby League World Cup, which was outside of the kids and the marriage, the greatest moment of my life. It was just extraordinary. Being there, getting Reuben Wiki handing me the trophy in the sheds to hold for. Said, "Yeah, bro, you just use this for your TV." Like, mate, you don't have to ask me twice. So the years of being beaten down by the Kangaroos, ebbing away through the bluer years and into that first World Cup win. I'd say first, there's another one coming up this year. It means the world to me, rugby league. Helped me find my people. Met my wife through a joint love of rugby league. Life couldn't be better on that front, guys. And yeah, the league fix. I was doing online shows before it was a thing, fellas. 2011, me and the great Jerome Ropati. We did online. The league fix was our online show we did on a weekly basis back in TV3 days. So yeah, laid the platform, I like to say, but that doesn't ring true. Everyone goes, "Oh, I didn't know you did one." But outside, we tried it anyway for an awful long time.
Yeah, no, also must have been tough going back then with technology and everything. But I do remember that back in the day, the great Jerome Rapati, and yeah, certainly appreciative of all the work you've done over the years, mate. And it's great to see you back, well, certainly with Sport Nation and front and centre again, and giving the Warriors, not that, I guess you need to push them much because everyone's all over them, but it's great to see the Warriors getting so much coverage on a show like Sport Nation.
What I find amazing, mate, is that for years I begged, borrowed, and scraped every second on the news I could of the Warriors. I'd have to come up and say, "Here's the angle I want to do." The Warriors and the Kiwis, for that matter. I want to do a rugby league story. Like, I don't know, mate. We've got all the Super Rugby teams to cover. I used to have to go and fight for every second, and now rugby league is this universal thing. And people say, "Oh, covering the Warriors, that's an easy gig." I said, Are you kidding? I used to go out to Mount Smart. We all had a bay to ourselves, and now you can't. It's standing room only. So the growth in that and the ability, look, rugby league changing from the whipping boy. A trip down south, Brad, many years ago, I went down and was staying at a house, and I asked the gentleman who lived there. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I put the Warriors game on?" Would have been early 2000s, 2006 or 7, and I didn't just do that. And he looked at me and said, "We don't watch league in this household, son."
Yeah, you might as well have asked to bathe his children down this end of town.
I said, "Look, I kind of need to do this for work. Is it okay?" He sat there for what felt like an eternity. He said to me, "Listen, you can't tell anyone you watched it here." We're talking 15, 20 years ago here, and now everybody up and down that you can't walk down the street in a Warriors hat without somebody somewhere giving you an up the waz. The way that changed has been phenomenal. The fans take the credit for it. The diehards, they're the day oneers, the one with those jerseys behind you, Brad, those ones that worked their ass off when we didn't have rugby league as a fandom. The Warriors were whipping boys. They were jokes. They were treated as a disaster. And now everybody's team who say, "Oh, well, it's easy. They represent a nation." Mate, they barely used to represent a city, a part of Auckland, let alone all of it. So the way it's grown, it's been unreal to watch.
Yeah, and this growth this time around, last time the growth of us entering the competition, Sam, Super League took the wind out of those sails a little bit because it all got messy. But this time we're able to ride this growth, and it's almost seems unstoppable at the moment. I've had an All Black. I know an All Blacks dad works here in Dunedin, and he's telling me that he's sick of watching rugby, and he might have to buy a Warriors jersey. And his son was an All Black, and he's as rugby as they come. So
I know an All Black, Israel Dag, who I work with every morning on Sport Nation Breakfast. It's Scotty and Izzy and me along producing as well. So if you don't listen to Sports Nation in the morning, give yourself an uppercut. Get the app and do it. But it's just watching his transition from being nup to how good are the Wars. He brings it up. His boys got a Wars shirt. These used to be foreign outlaw concept. Izzy loves his rugby. He'll always be an All Black. He'll always love his rugby as his first and predominant love. But he sits there and goes, "They're doing it. They're getting it right. They know how to engage with the fans, and the fandom has changed. Rugby league is, I'd say, arguably the only sport in this country where respectfully the result doesn't matter right now. It's not going to stay that way forever. But Warriors fans, and you boys know this when you come up to Mount Smart, and I'm sure it's going to be exactly the same when it comes down to Kaha. When Warriors fans go into a building, they have a connection with people now. I've seen people come out of Mount Smart with some pretty bad defeats and heartbreaking defeats the last couple of years, smiling, laughing, and yarning to the person next to them, because you come hoping for a win, sure, but you come for the experience. You come to be part of something. The Warriors have done an amazing job with that. The fans have done an amazing job. The diehards who were there, once they got past the bitterness of being abused as a Warriors fan and the whole bandwagon jumping on and off, when the switch flicked, which is roughly when they came back from the COVID years, where it's like, we're just grateful to be here now. We don't take any of this for granted. They made it fun, and the bandwagoners, how am I? Come on board. You're welcome now. And that changed everything.
Well, that's one term that's disappeared in the last 12 months, hasn't it, really? Bandwagon. Like, everyone's just on. There's no such thing as a bandwagon jumper anymore. Yeah. Oh, that's a great time, isn't it, boys? Rugby league.
Because there's a real...
How good.
Go for it. Sorry, Will, go.
I was just going to say that just piggyback on that point, Sam, there's a real shift, I thought, in 2024. Like, people get behind the Warriors when they're winning, but that was the first time, I think, 2024, poor follow-up season, missed the finals. It was pretty disappointing, but sold out every home game. And the fans didn't desert the club. And it was probably the first time I've seen it that, that we weren't just, sitting here covering a team that was losing and the crowds are down to like 10 or 15,000 again, and you wait for them to get good again before everyone gets excited. But that excitement just didn't disappear after 2023. Such a watershed year, and it's just carried on. And now, luckily, we've got a hell of a good footy team to follow. But if it does dip, I think that fan base will stick around, and it's just halcyon days, really.
So much trust in Webster and even Cam George and that, though, as well, isn't it? Like, even though the losses during that year, they sort of trusted in what they said at every press conference, every sort of divide during the year, that whatever they've just been saying the right things at the right moment every single time. They've had the right answers, and they're believable, and they're proving themselves right now. And it's hard to imagine this stopping, really, at the moment. Like, after those years of watching a Warriors game, I will lose this weekend, blah, blah, blah. Next year will be... It's hard to imagine us not being this solid state football team that we are these days. Will, I was getting a little bit of correspondence. Are we cropped to shit live on the thing?
That's on the Instagram feed, I think. So,
yeah,
if you're watching on Instagram, jump over to the Facebook or the YouTube. But, I think the Instagram feed's a bit of a mess.
Sorry to bother you.
Not that, and you definitely want to see our faces, so you don't want this cropped one bit. Brad, how are you, mate? I know we're excited about our shiny new guest here, but how have you been, mate? I hear your injury curse is carried on.
Still aging disgracefully.
Had the ankle injury. What's happened now?
Yeah, fill you in, Sam. A couple of weeks ago, I got some new football boots because I'm helping coach my boys' rugby team. And while I was waiting for the kids to come out the front lawn, stationary, just having a good look at my new boots, while I was standing stationary, I rolled an ankle. Just not even running or moving. So
it's the thing. Sorry, anyone who's laughing at that, you just wait. Your time comes.
Well, it happened again in the weekend. Took the kids mountain biking, a couple of laps down the hill, and I was just chucking, because you got to lift the bikes back on the ute at the end of each run. I'd just done a little groin tweak. I was like, wasn't much, but because I've got a cold at the moment, all day I was hacking cough, and every time I coughed, it clenched my groin muscle. And by the time I went to bed, I was in agony. I had to sneak a couple of melatonins out of the kids' little stash to try and get me to sleep to avoid the groin. So a cough caused me just a disability. What am I trying to call it? I couldn't move. I was just lying prone in bed. I couldn't find comfy. So, rolled an ankle stationary, now coughed myself to a groin injury. Yeah,
thoughts and prayers, mate. I've sneezed my back out before, so I'm not the throat.
It sucks, but it's fun at the same time.
Back to some, I guess, people in the prime of physical shape. The Warriors, another good win on the weekend. Bit of a tough watch, error prone, bit ill disciplined, and a bit of an outlier of a performance in some ways to what we've seen this season. Still 30-12, only the Dragons, but I thought we won well. Terrible conditions, could have been a banana skin game, and I thought it was another game ultimately that sort of showed the evolution of the Warriors into a team that's ditched all the cliches about, being patchy, not playing for 80 minutes, finishing poorly, giving up leads, all that sort of thing. I thought it was a nice professional performance under a few difficult circumstances. What was your boys' take on it?
Well, just firstly, with the handling areas and that, I watched that New South Wales Cup prior to it, and it was always like that game that we played in it, the weather looked perfect, but only 2 hours before, it was hosing down. So the conditions weren't great at all. It still would have been soaking wet. So, yeah, and it was messy. It wasn't pretty, but just so professional, scoring when we're supposed to score. Remember, back in the day, we'd sit down there for 30 minutes going, oh, we're going to want to come away with points here sooner or later. We just get it done, get back, ice it, start all over again. They're robotic, mechanical, these guys at the moment.
And once this team is named for the Panthers game and we get through this week, no one's going to refer to that game at any stage again for the rest of the year. Right? There's nothing from that game outside of the Roger Tuivasa-Sheck heartbreaking news that came out of it. Outside of that, there's nothing that's going to be, this decided this. This was crucial because of this, that, the other. Performances were forgettable. I think it's the first time I've seen the Warriors show an air of frustration in their performance. I thought there was some of the errors were off the back of trying too hard, which has been something that's been a problem in previous seasons where I feel it isn't bit hard this year. Silly little things like Dimitri Fa'amanga calling for a review when he had done the first cheat shot of pulling the Dragons defender in. Now, that's not a penalty, right, what he did. But because it led to the rest, I just feel like it was a little bit too heated decision-making rather than clear. Now, that he's a young man in the early stage of his career. That's not throwing any shade. I'm just saying in the Warriors' performance, this one to me showed that they got themselves a little bit head up and then a few deep breaths and then just did what they needed to do. And that's what it was. I'll remember it for Lofi Pereira's extraordinary first try. I mean, how often have you seen this? And like it was like playing a game of FIFA 94 or something, right? That's where the screen was purely 8 white jerseys and 1 blue jersey. Watching at home for TV, that's all you saw. Just jinking his way through with barely being touched. Now, amazing skill, average defense, but she is a special thing to watch when you watch somebody with that kind of skill go. As they say, you can't teach pace, but also you've got a guy who is thriving right now. And we've talked about it on the Sport Nation Breakfast a lot. The arrival of AKP has really seen a lift in what Dallon's doing on the other wing. Having somebody lifting their game is making him do the same. So I'm thrilled with that. I need to put this as an outlier. The Dragons are my brother's side, so I never wish them any joy in this world. So I needed that win on a personal note. So for the Warriors to do that for me, I'm riveted.
Jeez, really? That's how long? When did this start, Sam? How can you support the Dragons? Was he a Mark Coyne fan?
No, I dropped him as a baby, I think.
Okay. Lack of
oxygen.
oxygen.
There's a tale that goes around the family, which I strenuously deny, that as a 10-month-old, apparently I pushed him down a flight of stairs. I disagree. No one can prove it. But maybe it's what it is. But he switched.
There's signs, though.
We can't be for sure, but you can tell. There is. He started off a Manly fan, but when he was a league, maybe 6 months before I started to get into it. And when I go, oh, yeah, I'm going to go for Manly, he went, nah, not having a bar of that. So he went to North Sydney, and then he went, that's a bad idea. I'd like to see a final at some point. Then he jumped up to the Dragons because that was the Dragons-Broncos grand final era. He thought, oh, they'll come right.
Torpedo pants and all.
Yeah.
Hey, I won't be telling you Sully the Bears name either. Sorry, Sam, mate. I know you're a guest, but I was a Bears fan until the Wars come in. Stupidly.
Well, in that case, you should write the NRL a thank you letter for merging them with the Northern Eagles. Because otherwise, you'd still be there beating your head. Does that mean you're jumping? Are you jumping to Perth? Then are you, Brad?
No, I do have a soft spot, but Perth is a ridiculous idea to me.
Yeah. Right, well, I'm about to say, if you're a Bears fan, then you
I would have loved. There was a bit of chat about the Southern Bears, maybe early doors when they were talked about coming in, and I don't know what I would have done if that was the case. But yeah, Perth, Yeah, I do have a soft spot, but nah, I can't. Perth. I got no interest in the Dust Bowl.
No, the officials did you a big favour, mate. So it was grand finals, and listen, I think that the Perth Bears are probably going to be a chance of winning than the old North Sydney ones did. That's saying something.
They just enjoyed a long summer, I reckon. Just a.
Boys, the Warriors. I thought the Warriors defended their errors and ill discipline really well. Obviously that early try, just from freak offload, and then really it was only the Ali Leatawa's horrific read for the try that Christian Tuipulotu scored. Otherwise, great defensively. They did a lot of defending on their own line. Dragons' attack was pretty shithouse, but I thought we did really well in that department. Always looked comfortable. The win was never really in doubt once we sort of started getting a couple of tries on the board. And as you say, those wingers, sensational work in the wet. Geez, I love AKP. Someone that can score out of nothing, and having a threat on both edges is just so good. And as you said, Sam, they're lifting each other's performances. AKP 4 doubles already. He's only been in the team for 6 or 7 games. Dallin, he's equaled the all-time Warriors record for most consecutive games scored in at 7 now. I think 4 of those have been doubles, so he's racking up the tries, 14 in 11 games. That's outstanding. He's in vintage form. I have to give Dallin a massive rap. I came into the year probably wanting Khan Pereira to bump him out of the team for round 1. I think he's been outstanding. 14 tries. His opposing wingers have only scored 2. So, obviously there's been a lot spoken about, and including on this podcast, about his, defensive fragility and his penchant for jamming in. But he's been great in that department. It's barely spoken about now. He's back to his fearless ball carrying best. What do you have? 21 runs on the weekend. I just thought it was outstanding, close to the best on the park. And it's been a big part of, obviously, the forward pack has been lauded as the best in the NRL, deservedly so. They're great again on the weekend, those middles especially. But the back three with Tane, stamping that, putting a stamp on that number 1 jersey week by week. I thought he was great. He was my man in the match on the weekend. Great to see him get a kick return line break. That was just food for the soul for me. Just been waiting for that for so long. But yeah, those wingers are having a massive impact on what they're doing, and it's exciting to see, especially with a couple of injuries in the back line starting to creep in. It's good to see our 2 wingers on fire. And speaking of devastating news confirmed today, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck ends his Warriors career the way it started, with an ACL injury. Boys, what were your initial thoughts, I guess, of confirmation we'll never see Roger in a Warriors jersey again?
Sammy?
That, just saying it out loud, I've obviously read it and thought of it, just hearing that sentence out loud, well, that you'll never see Roger in a Warriors jersey again. That hairs in the back of the neck went up, because I know what that Warriors jersey means to him. I've been fortunate enough to spend a fair bit of time around Roger and talking to him. He's a horrendously, disgustingly nice guy. Like, my God, he's a nice guy. Seriously, he has time for everybody. He's my middle boy's favorite player. Wears his RTS 250 shirt all the time. It's an extraordinary talent within New Zealand Rugby League. He achieved things with the Warriors that no one thought possible, right? The Dally M is going to be a precursor that, because of the way the Dally M system is stupid, may never happen again. But he is an ambassador for the game. He's an ambassador for the team. His effort levels are always extraordinary. His talent level is sick. I was at the schoolboy tournament when he was playing for Otahu, going, "Who is that kid?" And he's not done, right? We know he's going to play footy elsewhere over in the UK, and that's great. But honestly, hand on heart, we're not watching that, are we? We're not seeing it. We might see some Roger highlights pop up. But even the diehard of all diehard fans don't get access to Super League the way that we once did. So it's the end of an era, just a horrendous waiting for him to go out. But even his social media post is just the classiest thing you could hope to see in the way to handle it. He is positive. He's a family man. He's a leader within that team and with any team you go with. So if you could, I put him up there with Sonny Bill Williams as the most professional athlete of his era because of the way he influences those around him. Whether you like Sonny Bill or not, is not the point. So you speak to anyone that played with him and coaches that coached him post the doggies walkout, and they will say he was an absolute benchmark in that locker room, and that's what Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is as well. Let alone what we missed on the field, but what he has brought to this Warriors side and changed the mindset. Nothing short of phenomenal.
Yeah, four-time player of the year, over 100 games as captain as well. I think for me, on top of the Dally M medal, probably his greatest legacy is what he did for the Warriors in the early period of that COVID crisis. Left a newborn at home essentially, led the team through, I think, what would be the toughest season that any club has had to endure in the history of the Premiership. And he was Dally M captain of the year, obviously deservedly so. His form was brilliant that year too. Went away for a couple of years, came back and has contributed really well again. Tough year at centre in 2024, fantastic on the wing. Last year, player of the year, and this year was really making a home at centre. It's a shame to see him bow out like this. I think he can still play a massive role off the field. I'm sure, kind of reminded me, the first thing that came to mind was Monty Beetham in 2002. Did an ACL in the first couple of games, and he was a huge part off the field of sort of driving what that team achieved. Roger, I hope, can do something similar. But what do you think we lose on the field, especially given we were, starting to see a real top class centre out of him for the first time?
Me personally, I think that he is reads in defence, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face. Centre is the single hardest position on a rugby league field to defend. Right, centre. When you take what we're talking about with Dallin in last season, right, and everyone's saying, he's running out of the line. Everyone's on at Dallin. If Dallin was playing badly, he would have been dropped. He was following the system, and the centres and inwards were letting him down. Roger was finding a way to make that work, injecting himself in the right way. I think we lose a ton on the field as far as experience. I refuse to remember the Dragons' last game. I'm going to rewrite history in my own head, and I'm going to remember his Storm performance as my final Roger Tuivasa-Sheck memory. The big finger, the big don't argue to Will Warbrick. Those are the moments that really light it up. He was smart. His footwork is just extraordinary, So I'll remember him for having the best step since Benji and Fittler in his prime.
That's nicely put. The things I've been thinking of is what he's going to miss out on, rather than what he's done in the past. We could have finally had the chance to send, like, he put him in the same breath as Mannering and Jones, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Warriors greats. This would have been the best chance ever to send a great off a winner. He's stranded on 242 games in the NRL. You had to get 8 more, and he would have got to 250. And then even further out in the year, Samoa. That's a big loss for them in their World Cup come the end of the season. That's what he done for them in that series last year. He was unstoppable at fullback for Samoa last year, and they're going to lose that in their World Cup sort of bid this year. That's a bit of a shame. It's just gutting for the dude, but you're right. He'll turn up to every training still, won't he? He'll be right there holding bags, part of the team, smiling, telling the kids what to do, what they need to do to succeed. Yeah, it's a shit loss. My Mrs. Trace, she was gutted when she read it out to me. It was confirmed. Absolutely, gutted. It's a massive hole, and geez, all of a sudden centre could be a problem again for the rest of the season. We thought we had it fixed with him coming right there.
So Pompey and Leitao is basically theirs for the rest of the year, but we're only one injury away from needing to bring Rocco Berry back or trying to shoehorn Chance back in maybe it's looking, we're looking a little thin in the outside backs, just with one guy being out of contention.
I blame the media talking too much about depth, and now it's being tested. Bloody media. Better trust those bastards.
They're all full of shit, yeah.
Aren't they just? Very good looking, some of them, but they are all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, probably
What do you do? I'm sort of, who are you going? Who was first drop for you, Berry or Chance? When it comes, Berry's due back next week, isn't he?
When Rocco Berry is fit, and Jesus, must be some. When Rocco Berry is fully fit, Rocco Berry goes into he's my starting centre. I love Rocco Berry. Unfortunately, he's let him down so many times. I'll tell you why I love him. He is one of the single best kick chase merchants in rugby league. His defensive reads, when his body is right, are good. When he doesn't trust his body, they're not. So a fully fit Rocco Berry. And he was also, when we were talking about the great periods for Dallin, he is also an expert distributor. So I think he's an underrated element. That said, his body has just not played ball for so long. I don't think you can guarantee him a place in that side. If when everybody's fit and firing, then I've got no qualms for him going to that centre rotate.
Yeah,
there you go.
Big up. Yeah, team lists are out, boys. We better bring this in. Everyone,
shit, we've got a job to do here.
Meltdown in the comments, but bear with me.
Will's real good at getting this up here.
I'm super quick. Yeah, I could probably get a job as a producer, I reckon, with this.
Yeah,
these,
surely
skills, but
is it one mouse clip?
Here we go, boys. I'll read it out. 1 through 22. Tane Tuapiki staying at fullback, Dallin and Lofi Camperera on the wings, Ali Leotawa and Adam Pompey in the centres with, of course, Roger, Chanel, Harris DeVita and Tamati Martin. Excuse me. I'm not coughing because of that. I'm very happy that Tamati's still there. The Ford, James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan, Jackson Ford, Lekala Seema, Jacob Laban, Aaron Clark. So unchanged there. Interchange, Sam Healy, Tanner Stowers-Smith, Dimitri Vaimonga, Marata Nikore in the 17 with Eddie Edemir Toava out with a concussion. Kalis Fatialofa and Luke Hansen make up the six-man bench, and the reserves, Micaiah Tafua, Luke Metcalf, jersey 22, and Jason Salalilo. So very interesting there to see Metcalf in the reserves list, I guess, whether he comes in and takes the place of Luke Hansen for Sunday, or whether we see him in New South Wales Cup. Will be one of the big storylines of the week. Origin players given a rest. I think that was foreshadowed. But Mitch Barnett or Kirk Capewell. And,
it's not just me. It's not just me. Capewell all the time. I get owned for it. I'm just old, people. Luke Capewell was there.
I didn't.
I love you own this piece of my heart.
No, okay. I'm gonna give you a caveat here, because I was conditioned to say that because someone in the comments gave you a hard time about saying Luke Capewell, and it's stuck in my head. I think that's the first time I've ever done it.
I put my hand up. I call him Luke Capewell all the time, but usually it's after we're talking about Luke Metcalf or another Luke Hill on the lines of Luke Hansen, and then I'll just say Luke Capewell. Every time, and I think about it too. I think, oh no, I've got it right this time, and I still get it wrong. Anyway, sorry for the hijack.
All good. I better read this because there's so much interest around it at Origin time. The Penrith team list, will quickly run through that before having a quick look at this game. Dylan Edwards, New South Wales admission at fullback. Thomas Jenkins piling on the tries, and Paul Alamotti named on the wings. Isaac Tangor and Luke Garner filling in the centres. Blaze Talangi, Jack Cogger in the halves. Moses Leota, Freddie Lussick, Liam Henry in the front row. Isaiah Papali'i, the ex-Warrior. Liam Martin, Lindsay Smith make up the back row. Interchange of Jack Cole, Scott Sorensen, Billy Phillips, Laurent Patea, Billy Scott, and Sione Whanua. And the interchange, the reserves list, a few more interesting names there. Kalani Going, another ex-Warrior. Kiwi International / potential New South Wales debutant Casey McLean and Slash Maguire, and three more Blues reps who will play on Wednesday night: Isaiah Yeo, Nathan Cleary, and Brian To'o. So yeah, I guess we won't know much more until a bit later in the week, but all the Origin players, or their Origin players, a chance of coming back. We have seen Cleary rest them in these circumstances, a 4-day turnaround, such a big game. Maybe he does bring them back in a smaller contingent than we're used to seeing from the Panthers. Obviously, Liam Martin and Dylan Edwards have been there in the last couple of years. Casey McLean probably not going to play tomorrow night, but unless there's an injury. So you'd say he would come back in for Garner there and a bit of a reshuffle. But yeah, do you think we'll see Cleary, Yo, To'o come back in, boys?
I think that Cleary's a more likely option. I don't know. Brian To'o, his body always just gets battered at Origin, and it's not beyond my my senses for him to sit it out. Same thing goes with Isaiah Yeo. I'm pretty sure that that Ivan Cleary will be judging that horses for courses. Casey McLean will clearly definitely start, should that be the case. But you look at that with their three biggest names, or four if you want to count Case in there, sitting currently in the reserves. There's still 8 internationals in that starting side, the starting 13 for the Panthers, let alone grand final experience. Being able to bring Liam Martin in as well, what a luxury that is, because Liam Martin is gonna be fired up. You can, a guy who is as good at Origin level as anyone. His body hasn't let him be there. You don't reckon he's got a point to prove? You don't reckon he's going to come out there and, rip shit bust, get right into it and then hammer some people? What? That's still a formidable team. But listen, the same can be said about the Warriors, leaving out their Origin reps, and they still like such a strong side. That is phenomenal. Look at the players who are unavailable for the Warriors. That list growing and growing, and still such a strong side. That team would put the shits up most teams in rugby league. The Panthers, they're not scared of anyone. But for most people, that is a terrifying team to still pick.
God, it's a good.
Yeah, I don't think we don't lose too much with Barnett and Capewell. We've played half the season already without both of them, and Corday obviously coming back in. He had a good game in New South Wales Cup. All that experience. I've been, I guess, a little bit cold on him, as I guess Andrew Webster has, by bumping him out of the first choice 17 more recently. But what a player to be able to bring back in on the back of a few injuries and Origin resting
last week too.
Yeah, he was.
And Tanner Smith. I mean, if you're looking for someone to take the mantle from Mitch Barnett when he goes to the Broncos, Tanner Smith is NRL quality, absolutely. Now, I thought he was fantastic against the Dragons. After 6 weeks since we've seen him in the NRL, just slotted straight back in, big numbers off the bench, and every time that he's turned up in 2026 from the trials, he has been first class, and I'm not even too worried, I guess, about Barnett being out. Obviously, great to have him when he's available, but it's not quite the loss that it once was, or that it was midway through last year.
Oh, we're going to have to get used to not having Barnett at some stage anyway, so it's pretty good that we're comfortable without him 6 months before he leaves.
Yeah, absolutely.
What people put on this game is a litmus test for the Warriors. It's the top of the table. It's 1 versus 2. The time of the year it is, with the bye to come afterwards, is also plenty of footy to play. Origin period kind of makes everything have a little tiny asterisk next to it in the eyes of many. If a result goes a certain way, they'll go, it's Origin period. But what weight do you put on this?
I think it's a big litmus test either way, and depending on how the Panthers run out, like obviously if Cleary in particular plays and the other two as well, just such great players, but mostly Cleary, if he's there, then this becomes the top of the table potential grand final preview showdown, and it's a litmus test that way. If they rest those players, it's almost a bigger one. This is a game we should win, probably be slight favourites, you might say. and a team with Colger and Talangi, solid players, but it's a different proposition altogether. And especially if Yo and Toa were to be rested as well, it's a game that we probably should win. It's another litmus test in that department. Keep chalking up those wins that we should. Panthers $1.70 favourites. That market might shift a little bit, as I guess I'm surprised it's not suspended until we know who's playing. But it's hard to preview it properly, I guess, until we know what that Panthers lineup looks like. What about you guys? But how important is it either way?
If Ivan Cleary rests them all, almost says to me he's not taking it seriously. And then if we lose to a team that's not taking it seriously, I'll be a little bit dark. I hope they play their gun team, and I wouldn't mind a loss. If he decides to rest, I'm desperate for a win all of a sudden. It's win.
Those 17 players who play won't be taking it as a joke, mate. That's
I know, but you know what I'm saying. Like you almost.
I do, but geez, like. If I was to say that you took on a team that included Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Papali'i, Liam Martin, Moses Leota, Blaze Talangi, Milky in the form he's in on the wing there.
Any other team in the comp.
You lost, you'd go, well, yeah, geez, it's a good team. This hardly taking on reserve grade, is it? I mean, there's like more premierships and that group than most squads in the NRL, so it's still a damn challenge for a team that's lost one game this year against the Dogs, and I can't wait to see some of these matchups. I really like the way the Warriors line up. I think the fullback versus fullback matchup gets overplayed because it's not like they come into play too often. But as far as what they bring to their sides, Dylan Edwards is their motor. And Tane Tolpiki is slowly easing himself into that. So I'm intrigued as well, guys, for the fact that I've received the list here. I don't know if I believe that Luke is going to hold on to that number 20 spot. Luke Hansen is, with Luke Metcalf. I don't know if putting him at 22 says we want to play him reserve grade and give him a run. They didn't want to do that before. Right, no. They haven't wanted to do that before, and the only way is if they don't think he's mentally right in the right place, psychologically or mentally. Don't mean to infer he's unstable, but being in the right headspace to achieve something in first grade. So that's the only reason I can think of, because when you're taking on a team like this, you want all your Rolls Royces, and I say this respectfully because I'm a massive Luke Hansen fan. I love the way that young man scraps over everything and won't give up any contest or any fight. But Luke Metcalf, right at this moment, is a better player than Luke Hansen. And I know everyone's got emotions around it, but the whole point of a six-man bench, the way it's changed, is you want that versatility, but you also want specialists. If someone was to go down in the back line and it was required, you can move to Marty Martin. It doesn't matter that he's starting. He's still versatile. He can shift to fullback if need be, into the centres, whatever you require on that front, and you can bring somebody on. To run a game against the Panthers, do you want Hansen or do you want Metcalf?
Yeah, I can see it happening. There's no what's the point in naming Metcalf there in that extended reserves if he's not just going to slot him for Hansen? He's just on another tier level to Hansen. It's nothing against Hansen. He's got a few more years of learning to do, but yeah. You'd have Metcalf in a heartbeat in case of at this stage. Not start him, but in case of anything happens, how good would it be to call on Lukey Met to sort of come in and do a job for 50 to 30 minutes or something?
I've got to admit, there's a little part of me, because, I'm a person that likes to make other people uncomfortable. Part of me hopes that they named in that 22 jersey Jet Cleary, just to really mess with Nathan and Ivan for the week. Just can you imagine the long-suffering wife of Ivan could have gone, don't you let them smash Jed in his debut. Right?
That wouldn't be a bad shout.
Listen, I am the leader of the I love Jet Cleary, how he's progressing, but he's not ready yet for club, right? I don't think he should be in first grade. I don't want to say that I don't want anyone jumping on going, yeah, let's do it. But just for this game against the Panthers.
A red herring.
Just send him to bed at night looking at the ceiling going, do I really
It would change the whole Cleary's
part?
weekend, wouldn't it? It would really cock off the whole extended family over there all of a sudden. He'd have to play Nathan as well, or rather than rest him then as well. You'd have to play him. So, yeah, you'd actually cock up a whole lot of their preparation by doing that.
The Metcalf scenario, just sort of long term, is so fascinating because as long as Tamati keeps playing like he has been the last couple of weeks, it's hard to bring Metcalf in cold to replace him, if at all. And then, how long do you keep putting him just on the 6-man bench, or do you give him runs in New South Wales Cup to get just some reps, just some miles in his leagues, because he's played 2 games at 5/8 in round 4 and 5, so it's a long time with no footy, and a few injury things. Obviously, everything that's happened off the field and the psychological impact of that. How does he fit into this? I don't know that you can just leave him playing 0 footy until until maybe we get an injury. It's a fascinating situation. It's only really become a thing because of the 6-man interchange. Otherwise, there's obviously he's not going to take up a 4-man interchange spot, so it's more obvious to put him in New South Wales Cup. But I just I don't envy Andrew Webster trying to navigate this, and obviously the cogs are turning behind the scenes. Who knows if it is all harmonious, but and long term, Brad, you were sort of saying off here that you see that Luke Metcalf is probably more the answer towards the back end of the year. Is that still a potential option, or is Tamati the guy to take us forward? Tamati's a much better defender, I think. Better inside the 20. Luke Metcalf's your X factor player with a better kicking game, and it's hard to know at both at their probably 2026 best, or what they've shown so far. All things considered, who's going to be the best one to take us forward? What do you think, Sam? Who's going to be the number 7 in week 1 of the finals?
It'll all go down to form, and not in a New South Wales halves will change from minute to minute on who's in form. But I've always been nothing but impressed with the way Andrew Webster handles his cattle, and I think that Tamati Martin would have to fall out of form, as in play poorly, to lose this role, because he's playing with freedom, he's playing with a confidence, and I think that the skills that Luke Metcalf has are immense, and they aren't all identical to what is brought by Tamati. But it's the one thing that you'll say what we really would want in there is that Boyd kicking game again, but that's not coming, and Luke Metcalf's kicking game is not immensely better than Tamati Martin's. No. So with that in mind, if that's not the starting play, then I think that it's Martin's to lose, and that's not a knock on Metcalf. But as we've seen this season, in numerous positions, opportunity comes, and you take it. At the start of the year, I was being on top of a hill, being shot at and prepared to die on said hill. Then I was asked if you could pick a Kiwis team right now, who's your fullback once Kalen announced he was in. I said, my fullback is Chance Nickel-Klukstad. And Chance Nickel-Klukstad is my Warriors fullback this season for many reasons that we don't have time to delve back into here. But the fact of the matter is, when Chance Nickel-Klukstad is fit, you cannot drop Tane Toa-Piki. And that's going to be someone who would put Chance in a number 1 jersey at any given moment. Same thing goes here. If Tamati Martin keeps playing the way he is, there or thereabouts, there's no way that Andrew Webster's going to say, we're taking that away from you, because that's not the way he rolls. And I've always approved that. And I think the Metcalf thing as well, if he doesn't play, then I have full faith in what Andrew Webster's doing with it, because he knows his men well and he knows how to manage it well. There's very few times you'd say, well, I think you got that wrong. I think we could probably go back to the stubbornness around keeping Roger at centre in that first experimental year, that there might have been room for it. But that said, who says he was happy with the other options? I'm really comfortable that Tamati Martin should he keep playing the way he is, leads us into the finals in the 7 jersey.
Let me posit this, though. If Luke Metcalf hadn't signed with the Dragons and he was, still at this stage going to hang around for his length of his contract, another 2 years, do you think maybe there might be more of a groundswell, either publicly or behind the scenes, to get Luke Metcalf into that number 7 jersey a bit sooner?
Metcalf would have slipped in at Magic Round, though, wouldn't he? He wouldn't have been having that rest period to sort out his life.
Well, no, because Tanner Boyd was still playing then.
But would Metcalf be on the extended then, sitting, training, moving with the team, like they said?
Probably that versatility might have been what got him. But theoretically, that sliding doors is a really fair point. I feel that you talk about internally, yes, who knows? Absolutely, they had faith in him and where it was in the pecking order. Externally, let's not forget, the fans, which I think unfairly, if I'm being honest, had turned really hard on Metcalf in those two games he had played.
Didn't take long,
really hard. And like from the point of, I don't know if you guys were at the game for his comeback game against the Tigers, but before they ran out, there was a video package. Like they've done the team numbers, the stadium had gone black. There's a video package for Luke Metcalf. He's back, and some of his highlights. It's like, I've never seen a player singled out like that for his return. Like that, perhaps except for maybe a Stacey Jones in his comeback year. But it was, there was nothing but faith. But so disenfranchised were they after the Tigers and the Sharks game that people were saying, he's ruining the team. We're going great. We can't put him at 6. They can't both be out. Get rid of Metcalf. I was like, holy hell! This has moved quickly.
It's been an insane 2 months. Like if you look at it from the time that he came back for the Tigers game to where we are now, it's phenomenal how much has happened and how quickly it's happened. I think it's one we'll look back on in years to come and just wonder how it all unfolded as it did. Got a bit to squeeze in before we sign off, boys. I do want to address this, though, and it's been a bit of a talking point and coming up in the comments here a fair bit, is the goal kicking. We just can't quite nail those extras like we should. And I know, Chanel had some tough ones from the sideline, not going to begrudge him missing ones, but from out wide, but the overall numbers are quite telling. 71% we're kicking at this year. Tanner Boyd's been well down on his usual career average. Last year was similar, 72%, because Luke Metcalf insisted on goal kicking, even though he's 66% kicker. Tanner boosted those numbers when he came on, but fallen away this year. Just looking a bit further back, we're sort of around 75% in 2024, 2023 around 78%, in 2022 78%, 2021 80%. Sorry, that was 76%. Where were we? Around 80%. Yeah, around about 2019 80%. That's when we had Kieran and who did we have then? Isaac, Luke, Chanel Harris DeVita as a rookie. It is a crucial one, and we've got several options. Chanel, I don't know, maybe he was an 80% kicker until that horrible night at Canberra, and has never quite regained that status. Kane Tuapiki, I think, might be the best option. He certainly is percentage-wise in first grade from a smaller sample.
Yeah, Pompey.
I don't know. I think I can't get on board with Pompey at a career success rate of 72%. That's he's actually boosted to 75 with his 6 from 6 last year, but he was more around the 72.
It's another shame.
Rogers'
injury comes back to hurt us again there, because it wasn't he 100% career 2 from 2. So that's another thing we lose.
My son. That's what he said. Roger the ball. He always kicks them. He's kicked one and wobbly. Don't come on me.
Who are you going then? Will Chanel? You don't like?
Yeah. Well, he only had one crack at it in difficult conditions with a couple from the sideline. Yeah, it is tough.
Jackson Ford. What else?
Maybe, yeah.
Jackson Ford.
Yeah. Well, there's a
Yeah,
shout.
I reckon he could toe poke them from the sideline. Maybe if Tane is the other, I guess, question mark is, and Adam Pompey wasn't even in the team last week. Now he will be permanently if Tane's near enough to a permanent selection. But I guess you want someone who's locked into a spot for the rest of the year. Tane's probably close to that, but obviously no.
I think as well that even when Tane is playing full game, like they tend to go on one side, let's go Tane, on the other side, let's go. I think if you've got a guy who goes, yeah, we're back here to kick all spots, it just allows everybody to clear their head. I'd quite like the halves to focus on being the halves, thanks, if they're not natural leading goal kickers, is my personal preference. I'm comfortable with it. I honestly think, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, I just think it's all much for muchness. I think they're all roughly at the same level. I don't feel like one is heads and shoulders. How on earth are they not picking them? But I'd lean to Pompey.
It does get tough like it was in the weekend. You're sitting there, you're 3 tries to 1, and the score line's looking at 14-6. And it instead of a possible 18-6, it starts to get, I do a little bit of that counting when it comes to the conversions. And yeah, you really want to put them to the sword sometimes, don't you? And that 2 points does it.
I feel like Pompey is the kind of laconic character that buries them from the sideline when we're 30 up and then hits the post from, 10 meters to the right of the uprights when it's 14-12. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been burned by Pompey.
Stop coughing, Brad.
Yeah.
Boys, we've got another No Ugly giveaway, the No Ugly Salty Moment of the week. And if you will just bear with me here for 1 second, last week's winner, it's your mate, actually, Brad, Cozzy.
Who's my mate? Cozzy, the truckie.
Yeah, got the got the prize for
what's he pissing and moaning about?
He was salty about everyone, or the Broncos supporters being so salty about the 6 agains and the penalty count and not giving us our flowers for what was a very convincing win. Also, Sam Tide and Corey Oates going nuts on a podcast about the penalty count.
Well, so, just 3 minutes of the press conference bitching about it.
Yeah, it's
It was all deserved, wasn't it? Carrigan could have got Simbin 3 times in that game.
We were absolutely caning them. So a deserving No Ugly Salty Moment of the week. Congratulations, Cozzy. There is a dozen of those coming down to you on the West Coast, mate. No Ugly Salty is scientifically formulated functional beverages. They got a whole range of them, but salty is the latest cab off the rank. Clean isotonic electrolyte drink, 500 mils of it, all the good stuff. Rapid hydration after a workout or whatever you may be doing. But you feel like $1 million afterwards. And we're very stoked to be able to give these out all season to our listeners. Now, my salty moment of this week, and I'm not salty about it, but I love the saltiness of this particular moment. And it is this one from friend of the, well, I guess favorite of the show, Setu2. Would have loved to see him be a Warrior, but didn't he get up and tame to a piggy's grill after scoring the opening try of the game at Cogra there? I love this. I just think he deserves everything that's coming his way, Setu, after having to watch Ed Cossey play 36 NRL games while he scored 60 plus tries and 90 New South Wales Cup games himself without getting a debut. And obviously, fairly good-natured from what we saw after the game there. They're all good buddies. Tane and Setu played a lot of New South Wales Cup together, winning a competition last year in a state championship. So, yeah, I love this little moment. It didn't kind of backfired on Setu as he got stood up by Loffy just a few minutes later. But, I love seeing this sort of stuff. It's, it's a gladiator sport, and if they're going to get in each other's faces and they take it both ways, the guys like Sunya Taruva and those sort of characters, I think it helps make the NRL great. And this was great stuff. Setu taking his opportunity. Top try scorer for the Dragons in a terrible Dragons team. 5 tries in 9 games. No mean feat. I think more than double his nearest teammate. So, Setu, it's one of the great individual stories in one of the worst club stories of the NRL era. So good on you,
Yeah,
Seto. Anyone who's got a salty moment for this week, get as creative as you like. No holds barred, no restrictions. Message us, drop in the comments, and you might have a case of this No Ugly Salty heading your way.
What
Thanks,
does it
No
do
Ugly.
for groin strains? Any good on groin strains, that No Salty? No,
Yeah,
salty?
just pour it directly
on the
onto
wound.
the injury. Yeah, and you should be right to go. Now, the show's running a bit long, but we do have, Sam, if you've still got a couple of minutes, mate, your PlaceMakers Warriors Legend. Special request from you. I asked you earlier on today.
Oh, has he chosen one? Sprung in an item for a show and tell. Sick.
Yeah. So it'd be rude not to stick around for this one. And we love PlaceMakers support and their support of former Warriors greats. So here we go. It is. I love this poll, actually, Sam. One of my personal
I'm
favorite
excited.
imports as well.
An import.
Number one, Warrior number 139, Ian Henderson. Now, I like this story just because of the way he ended up at the Warriors in a roundabout way. He was a part of the 2004 Premier League Grand Final side for the Roosters, alongside Grant Ravelli, Aidan Kirk, part of the Ivan Cleary connection. He was the coach of that team that eventually ended up at the Warriors. He played a handful of games for the Roosters, won for Parramatta, then went and played for Bradford for a few years when the Bulls were still a force. Turned up at the Warriors, basically an unknown, and then in that memorable 2008 season became quite a key component of that team that went all the way to the preliminary final. Played 26 games. 7 tries, cemented that hooker spot. He was there throughout that difficult 2009 season, played in 2010 and eventually got ousted for the hooker spot by Aaron Hedemeyer. Went back to Super League Catalans for several years and came back in 2016 for the Roosters, a couple of games. Scotland international. He's actually England born, but played in 2 World Cups, 2008, 2013. He really sticks out from that 2008 team as a real, key component. There's so many of these like versatile, kind of unheralded, super consistent role players. Henderson, Ravelli, Witt, Fiend, and it reminds me a little bit of this Warriors team, or that team does. This bigger than the sum of its parts team that can go very deep and challenge for a premiership. But Sam, I'll let you take it away, mate. Why did you pick Ian Henderson?
Yeah, like you said to me, I think of somebody, not the main, we're not talking about some of the superstars, but Hendo always stuck out to me. At the time I was with 3 News at the time, what we were back then, and I'd head out, but he was just cut from a different cloth. He had a nose ring in, which wasn't common at the time. Like, everyone's rocking up in fresh studded clothes, he'd wear flannel. He a bit into the alternate music, a bit of a different rooster. Spent some time flatting with the great Simon Mannering for a while, and he flatted with Shorty as well, Ryan Shortland. He was a popular team man, never short of confidence. He said, I did an interview with him. In fact, back with one of the few times I achieved a dream of mine writing for Rugby League Week back in the day. For those of us old enough to remember the old Bible. And he just said, mate, I want to be the X Factor. I want to come on. I want to change things. And he did. He's feisty as anything, punched above his weight and certainly above his size. He actually was part of an era where you mentioned about Aaron Jeremiah coming in. When Jeremiah took the 9 jersey, they would sub off a forward and Hendo would go in as to be a running lock role and spend a fair bit of time on the field just being a general nuisance on the field. And he just wanted to scrap with everybody. His dummy half delivery was underrated in my opinion. A great player who tasted great success in the UK as well. He mentioned he played in 2 World Cup Scotland along with his brothers, who's fiercely proud of that. Wasn't afraid of wearing a kilt in its most traditional sense, as I'm told. But he's an unusual rooster, good to be around, a popular team man. He from the Central Coast, and last I heard, he's back that way. Probably Terrigal used to talk it up as heaven. Loved it a lot. Also told in finance, and the former teammate telling me that suits him down the ground because he loves his money. He's tighter than a fish's ass.
Absolute competitor, wasn't he?
Table.
One of those pain in the ass competitors that get out there and always staring up at someone a foot taller than them, give him a serve. Was he? Is it right? Did he get that bad break in his last year at the Roosters? Did he break a leg, and that's what finally sealed his career?
Yeah, was that a medical requirement? Yeah, that does ring.
Yeah. No, well, no, that's a great choice. See, that's the legends we want to bring up. Not everyone knows the legends, but what about the legends, eh? Cheers, PlaceMakers.
Some deep pulls. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, PlaceMakers, supporting our Warriors Legends and this Warriors Life. Geez, that's hell of a shift for a debut on the podcast there, Sam. Obviously, you know, well positioned to do that with all the hours you put in on Sport Nation. This will be a doddle for you, but we really appreciate you coming on for a live Tuesday night episode with us, mate. It's been a blast. Hopefully it's not the last, and open invitation. We've loved it.
I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and thanks for the kind words on the messages coming through, and also thanks to Kingz, to PlaceMakers, No Ugly, to get in and support local content and podcasting in this country. It's you're a good rooster if you do that, because these are the shows that speak direct to the fans as well. Now, I'm not going to stand here and decry the end of traditional media. I think it's still very much a place, but the fact of the matter is, this is what sets the Warriors apart. There's so many great podcasts from Warriors supporters right throughout, and the community that everyone involved has built together is pretty bloody phenomenal. So, like I say, I'm a big fan of the show. Will continue to be. So, congratulations for the work you guys do, and look forward to seeing what's next. And coming back another time sounds great to me.
Wow, fantastic. You've already done all my sponsor thanks as well. So how good. What a great
I make sure when you're not listening to what's going on with this Warriors Life, you are listening to Sport Nation Breakfast. It is on 6 to 9 every morning with the great Scotty Stevenson, Israel Dag, and me, making sure rugby league comes up at every given moment. Get the app if you don't have it. Give us a listen.
Yeah, outstanding. I didn't even have to do that plug either. This is fantastic.
Sweet. You might as well put the chairs up when we leave too, Sammy, mate. You do the housekeeping, lock up, leave the keys, give them the code. We're out of here.
Don't worry.
Attaboy.
Outstanding.
I'll leave you in the kitchen though, Brad, because if you're a Bears fan, you'll have those wooden spoons to take care of. So.
Oh,
chuck in there, righto, dig away.
Nice work. Thanks again, Sammy. You too, Brad, mate. And until next time, everyone, look after yourselves and each other.